right, time for our top 20. So it's probably not going to be the most engaging revelation. So if you boys have any objections to the orders, I might point out when there's someone who was like really low on someone's list or really high and they've been put in a certain position. But I'll just shout out the 5 people who just missed the top 20 as honourable mentions, as we always do. We've got Rory Laird, just missed out. I know Roy had him in his top 10, so that's probably surprising to him.
Superman.
Yeah. Buddy Franklin missed out. Could have been my doing, but we'll leave that unknown. Liberatore missed out. Also could have been my doing that he was that high. Merritt and Stephen May also just missed out. They were pretty consistent across our 3, but didn't just have a high enough ranking in any of ours to get them over the line. Number 20, we've got Maxi Gawn. And a little hint, we actually don't have him as the number 1 ruckman. So that's an interesting one. And something that actually really interested me is none of us had Grundy high at all. No one had him in their top 25. So that's an interesting point. And Darcy, I believe, same thing. I think I was the only one who had him above 40. So Gawn and the other ruckman, who we'll leave nameless for now, a lot higher than the rest, but Gawny number 2, interesting. Then we actually had Jake Stringer at the number 19 spot.
That's exactly where I had him.
Yeah, that actually is exactly where you had him. If we said that last year, you'd probably been like surely not, but sort of had a bit of a resurgence this year. Missed stiff to miss out on the AA side. Then we had the Tomahawk in at 18. Can confirm he's the highest and only key forward in this top 20 list, so we're all in agreement that he is the top key forward in the game, just ahead of Buddy Franklin. As I mentioned, he was in the honourable mentions.
Up to Charlie Dixon, Pilch.
Yeah, I know. I was actually...
I had him 41.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fair enough. I respect it. Redos will be happy as a hater of Charlie Dixon. Then we had Sam Walsh in at 17, which I bet you Carlton fans will say that's a bit low, but for someone in there, what is it, his 3rd season as an inside midfielder, pretty ridiculous. Then number 16, I believe we're up to, Lachie Neale, the man who requested a trade. We don't actually have him as the highest Brisbane player, which might be a shock to some of you. That's because next we have Dane Zorko, who, thanks to my rankings, has polled a lot higher than Lachie Neale. Just pipped him in our top 20, and that brings us to our number 14, who we had as Nat Fyfe. Maybe didn't have his best season this year, struggled with injury and stuff, but as Pilch, well, I think we all believe that Pilch had him at number 5, and I certainly believe in myself on his day he could be the best player in the competition. Then we had Dusty Martin next. Another, basically can say the exact same thing for Nat Fyfe, can just copy and paste that there. Not his best season at all, but arguably the best finals player of all time and one of the best players of all time, full stop. Then we've got the first of 2 Port Adelaide players in this list. We've got Travis Boak next. I've actually lost track where we're up to in the order. I think this is number 12. But Travis Boak in next. He was one of the most consistent people across our 3 rankings. All had him within about 6 spots. So,
I had him lower than consensus.
So did I.
Yes. Yeah.
Corker, you've put him top 5.
No. We actually all had him lower, but it was just because it was so consistent. It sounds weird, true. If you get what I mean, if someone has 5, 50, and 50, then they're going to be lower than him. Yeah. But the highest was actually Pilch.
So I was higher.
Fair enough. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, yeah. Toby Green's in at number 11. I kind of dogged us here. I can't lie. I had him in the 20s, so apologies for that. But
I had him low as well.
Yeah, I don't know. 17. I feel like, I love Toby Green, but the suspension stuff's starting to lose respect for me. Is he that good of a player if he's off the park every 3 weeks? I don't know. I think that's got to be weighed up. Then number 10, we have Mr. Patrick Dangerfield. Legit could probably say the same thing about Fyfe and Martin as him. Probably not his best season, but has been one of the most reliable players in the AFL in the last 8 years or so. Absolute killer. I had him lower than you boys. You both had him in your top 6, so I dogged him a little bit there. Then Darcy Parish in at 9. That was my doing. I had him in my top 5 after a killer season. You boys had him around the 20 mark, so not that outrageous that he's snuck into the top 10, but probably not the consensus of the general public. Then we had Ollie Wines, the Brown. Is he the Brownlow favourite or the number 2 Brownlow?
He's either favourite or 15th favourite. No in between.
Yeah, that depends what predictor
On Sportsbet, he's favourite. And as they say, money never lies. So, yes, he's the favourite.
Do you want to explain that saying, Pilch? I'm interested.
So if people are voting with their actual money through Sportsbet, then they should be the most accurate favouritism mechanism.
That's an interesting point. I like it because people aren't just going to throw money at something they don't believe in. Well, there's probably a few situations in life.
I've done that before, mate.
Yeah, I think quite a few people have. But anyway, so Wine's in at 8, which is interesting. We don't believe the Brownlow favourite is the best player or even in the top 7.
Surely I was lowest on Wines.
No, Rowie actually had him. We all had him very even. I had him at 16, Rowie 13, you 14. So we could argue fake fan. Fake Port Adelaide fan. Nah, just kidding. You definitely had Robbie Gray in your top 20, so not a fake Port Adelaide fan. Then number 7, we have our number 1 ruckman, Nick Nanui. I had him at number 8, Rowie number 17, Pilch number 10. So we're all in agreement that Rowie had Gorney above him. So we're not all in agreement that he's our top ruckman, but average it out, and yeah, pretty close. The number 6, Rowie's number 3, actually, the Took Miller. I had him a bit lower than maybe what the average Joe would. I just think the fact that I don't know. I feel like it was pretty easy for him to stand out in that midfield this year. Not taking away anything from him. I've still got him in my top 15, but compare him to a Melbourne midfielder or something, I think it's a little bit easier to stand out in that team, but I understand why he's your number 3. Then that's in our top 5. And you may have noticed, Rowie, we haven't said your boy, which is good signs.
I haven't said my boy either.
Yeah, we also haven't said Robbie Gray, but we also haven't said Dougal Howard. But those boys aside, number 5 is actually Jack McRae. You had him 4, Rowie. Pilch had him 6. I won't mention where I had him, but I dogged him a little bit. But I don't think I had too much influence on his position because I think all the top 4 had better consistency across the 3. Our number 4 was Jack Steele.
Just missed out on top 3.
Yeah, so probably on the bench once again, not in the starting midfield.
Imagine that.
Yeah, but we'll sneak him in somewhere onto the field. The next man can play half forward flank, but that's Christian Petrarca. Interestingly, not the best Melbourne player according to us. Me and Rowie actually did him dirty. Pilch had him at the number 2. Interesting, Pilch and Rowie, very different takes on the Petrarca Oliver side of things. But Clover in a number 2. All 3 of us had him in the top 10. And then the number 1 was actually unanimous. We all believe that Marcus Bontempelli is the best player in the AFL right now. Any interesting pickups from that list, Pilch?
What were our biggest? What were some of our large discrepancies?
Rory Laird was probably the biggest discrepancy. Rory had him at number 9. You had him at 23, and I had him at 40. So,
just rate the Superman.
Yeah, I've probably applied similar logic to the Took Mill thing, but I've probably been a bit harsh on him there. It was getting a bit tough at points, but I understand why you have him top 10. I don't think many players can just go from a halfback to a gutsman and be an absolute beast. Trying to see any other big... I had Jeremy McGovern at 25. You boys didn't have him. So that was something interesting.
I think I had Mitch McGovern there.
Mitch McGovern. James Sicily was an interesting one. We talked about him in the before we came on air. Obviously hasn't played footy for 18 months. I actually still had him in about 10th position, I think. because I just believe in the great man that much. You boys didn't have him, which is completely understandable, but that'll be one to watch for next year, I think, to see how good he is. McCluggage, Rowie had him 20, Pilch had him 40, I had him high 40s, so that was pretty big difference. Harris Andrews, another one, pretty different. So, yeah, any people you think we got wrong, Rowie? Or
I don't know. I had took that high just because I think he's a gun. I think he's just got everything. He's got the speed. He's running as quick as he does at the start of games as he is at the end of the games and can rack up 30, 35, 40 and lays the most tackles on the ground. So I just think that I just love watching him play because, he can do everything. He can sprint out of the packs, but then he can stop people from doing it. So I think he's a gun. But, I don't know. To Brody's disagreement, I snuck Aaron Hall in that top 50. I had Rowan Marshall in there at 36. No, apart from that, I can't remember. I had Sicily in there, but then I thought, I don't know, it was a bit just too annoying to. I didn't want to pick an interceptor that hasn't played for a season. If it was a star mid, I would have. But
yeah,
that was my logic for not having him. I did originally, but then in saying that, I had Darcy Moore in there in the 40s. So yeah, I don't know.
Did you boys have Alir in your top 50?
Oh, I did, yeah.
Yeah, we all did. I had him 44, Rowie 34, and you had him 25, so not too bad on that one. Tom Mitchell was actually the biggest surprise for me. Me and Rowie didn't have him. Pilch had him all the way down at 35. I thought he was going to be a lock for top 20. So we're all just not believers in Tom Mitchell, but not sure why I'm surprised if I believe in myself. Tom Stewart, another one with a massive discrepancy. I had him in at 15. Rowie had him all the way down at 47. Pilch 26. Callum Mills also. Rowie didn't include him. Pilch 25. Me 16. So yeah. But no, I'm sure there was a couple that were accidents. But anyway, I could go on for days talking about that list. But that's something the NFL does, an NFL top 100 at the end of the season. I always find it pretty interesting to see the experts' opinions.
Where'd you boys have Robbie Gray?
Not included, actually.
No, that was a joke. But where'd you have Franklin?
Rowie had him at 21, and I'll be blatantly honest, I didn't have him.
Didn't have him, yeah.
Yeah.
I had him at 11, and I also had Lockie Neal at 7. I thought you boys dogged Lockie Neal.
Yeah, I didn't think he was that good this year, or am I mistaken? I could be under.
No, he wasn't, but he played most of the year with an injury, I think.
Yeah,
and last year was I took last year into account.
Oh, I had him 15, but that's the thing. I look through that list, and every player ahead of him, I'm thinking I'm probably still picking that player ahead of him. But then, yeah, I'm still thinking back to last year, but I don't think he'll hit that high of last year again. But yeah, I'm just picking everyone ahead of him before him. So yeah.
Yeah, next year's going to be so crook, that Freo midfield. It's going to be interesting to see if he can get back to his best, though, or if this is sort of the Lockie Neal.
He'll be starting in there, but yeah.
He will. I reckon he will.
Should be.
I reckon he'll be the best midfielder in there if he goes back.
Yeah, I wonder if Fife will play a lot
Supercoach.
more forward now that, because you got Neal, Sarong, Brayshaw, maybe to try and prevent him from being injured all the time. And if they're going to make finals,
and they need a target as well
healthy.
Up forward. They're a bit bare for targets up forward. So
surely Mundy just takes a seat at halfback.
Yeah,
it's about that time, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. Play a Dyson Heppel role.
He's about 60.
Yeah.
And he's still running through the midfield.
Yeah, I don't hate that call actually. That's something they could do with they've got Nathan Wilson, but yeah, they could use that. That's
the segment we should do. Potential players that could do with a role reversal next year, because it always happens. Who would have thought this time last year Bailey Dale would be an All-Australian halfback? So
yeah, so he was
potential segment.
Yeah,
that's actually not a bad shout. I might write that down.
Couple ideas. Haynes and Andrews, key forwards, both went up forward on the weekend.
Yeah,
took some big marks up there.
Yeah, it's actually, I find it so weird that they can just change. It happens in no sport, I don't think, except for footy. Oh, maybe like in rugby league and rugby union a little bit, but like in soccer, you don't just see Virgil van Dijk become a striker.
Yeah.
Like I actually think it's sick that they can do that. But yeah, that could definitely be a segment. So look out for that one in the next few weeks. We've got some good episodes coming up, but I think that'll do us for the top 20 chat. Just thought that would be a fun thing. It was part of the reason why I made these boys wait an hour and 20 minutes from when I said the podcast should start. But anyways, but
it's a miracle. Oh yeah, what about that one? Unbelievable. Balotelli, Aguero. Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.